Hey there, welcome to the second episode on servo motors. So what I have here on my top right, we have our Barnabas noggin now attached to our robot. Here's our noggin right here, and it's attached to my robot so that you can actually see the arms and head move. Make it a little bit more interesting. Now on the main screen, you're going to see the code that I have from the previous video or 2 videos ago with the button. So I have it, when I press the button, it turns on 2 lights and also does this little tone sequence. All right. And then if I don't press the button, again, this is our conditional, right? So if I do this, if I press the button, then do this stuff. Else, do this stuff, which is basically turn off the 2 lights and also turn off the buzzer. So I just want to make sure that that still works. Again, this is available on the, you have to have your button installed. I'm turning it around here. My button is right here. So when I press it, I'm going to get 2 lights on in my little sequence and turn off. Okay, so that still works. What I want to do is I want to save this, some of this code here. I'm going to use a special feature here called creating a function. Okay, a function is just a set of instructions. All right, so what set of instructions do I want? I want this stuff. So this is my little, when I turn on the light, then I also make the sounds here. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to make a function void my function, curly brace, and then another curly brace here. Okay, so this is my function or my list of instructions, and I'm going to paste in that code there. All right, let me fix my indenting here so it's all lined up correctly. All right, cool. And the reason that I want to save it, because I want to save these instructions because I want to use it later, but I still also want to set up, work with my servo stuff. So I'm just going to leave that there. And then I also have some here. All right, I'm going to make another function with these instructions here. So I'm going to make another function, void, I guess I'll call this one, you can basically call it anything. I'm going to call this off, because when I don't press the button, I want to turn everything off. Fix the indenting there. Okay. And now that I have this one named off, I kind of want the other one to be named opposite of that. So I'm just calling this on instead of my function. Okay. So I have an on and then an off. And kind of just so you know how it works. The great thing about the function is that now that you have all these instructions inside the function that's named whatever you named it, in this case on, you can just say, if you want to do all this stuff, I don't have to type that all out. I can just go here and just say on. And then here, I can just say off because I want to do the off instructions. All right, so super clean here. And then later on, when I want to add and combine the light with my motors and stuff, it's super easy because I can just say on, and then it'll do all those instructions for the light and the buzzer stuff, and same thing with off. So let's just make sure that this still works here. Should work just like it did before, except my code has functions now. Okay. Press my button. Still works like before. Good. So my functions are working. Cool. And now what I want to do is get rid of these 2 because I don't want to use those quite yet. All right. So I have 3 motors connected. They're connected to 9, 10, and 11. If you are not sure how to do that, look at the previous video. I show you how to do all that. So what we want to do now is set up our pin modes for those three pins. Pin mode 9. This is sending an output because we're sending out motion signals for the motors. So these are all going to be outputs. Okay, so 9, 10 is an output, and 11 is also an output. And I'd like to, let's just put a little comment here. If you watched carefully in the previous video, we know that pin 9 should be the head motor. Pin 10 should be the right arm, the robot's right arm, which is this one. And 11 should be the left arm. Okay, cool. All right, the next thing that we want to do is we need to actually set the pin numbers, or these pins 9, 10, 11, to become servo motor pins. All right, so the first thing we need to do is we go up to the top here. We need to do hashtag include less than servo.h. All right, notice the capital S here. Okay, so this is to tell the code, hey, I'm going to use servo motors, so I need to include the servo library, which is called servo.h. All right, library, just like think of any, like our regular library you go to get books. So this is like a computer library that has all the information on how to move the servo motor. Okay, so you say, okay, I'm going to use a servo motor, so please include the servo.h library. Now that you've done that, up here, up at the top, you can also, inside your setup, attach the pins to your servo motors. All right, but even before we do that, we need to do this. We need to create our servo motor. In C, they're called objects. Okay, so now that you have the library, we can say, okay, I want to create a servo motor, and I'm going to call this, we have 3 motors. I guess it should be called head motor. Okay, and you do end your sentence there with a semicolon. Let's do another one. Right. Let's go right motor, and another third servo motor. Left motor. Cool. And then now that we've created those, we can just say, let's see, what were they called again? Head motor. So we can attach the motor. So head motor dot attach. And we say, okay, which pin number do we want to attach to the head motor we just made? Well, we have these comments here. Well, the head is number 9. Boom. All right. So now we know we've created this object in C called the head motor, and we're attaching the number 9 pin to it. And we'll do the same kind of thing for the other 2. We call that right motor and left motor. Okay. So right motor dot attach 10. And left motor dot attach 11. All right, so now we're all set up here. Now the fun part. Okay, now let's go to our loop, our main loop here, and let's see if we can move the head motor. Okay, so I'm going to make it so that if I press the button, we go. Now, what's the name of our head motor object? It's called head motor dot right 0. Okay, so that's saying I'm gonna take my head motor, which is this one here, and I want to move it to angle 0. Okay, and remember The angles, the way it works with the servo motors, it can only do half a circle, which is the same as 0 to 180 degrees. All right, so the biggest number you can put is 180. The smallest you can put is 0. So we're going to try 0 right now and see what happens. Let's go ahead and upload. Okay. Whoa, and you can see it moved a little bit. Okay, I'll talk a little bit about that, like why it moved in a second. But let's go ahead. I'm gonna press the button here and see what happens. Cool, and it goes to 0. It works. If I press the button again, what would happen? You might think it should move again, but it doesn't. You know why? Because when I press the button, it always goes to 0. So the way it works is that 0 angle is always going to be this. All right. So if you tell it to go to 0 again, it's like I'm already there. Tell it to go to 0, it's already there. So if you want it to move back, you need to put an angle that is not 0. Okay. So why don't we do this? So if I don't press the motor, if I don't press the button, let's move it to 180. All right. This should go all the way around there. Okay, there you go. So I'm not pressing it, so it's at 180, but when I press the button, I'm pressing it now, it goes to 0. All right, I'm holding it down so it's there, but once I let go, it should go to 180. Cool. Okay, so let's, oh, my button fell out here, so let's put this back in. Otherwise, I won't be able to test my code. Okay. There we go. Okay. So we're moving along here. And so let's kind of like keep track of what we want to be doing here. Challenges. So the first thing we do, right, is we want to move head using the button. All right, that's kind of what we've already done that, so you can just follow along here. All right, let's see what else we got. Now let's try the same thing with, instead of the head motor, let's do the left arm, or let's right arm. So instead of head, let's do the same thing with the right arm. So I want to make sure everything works before I move forward. Okay, so here, doing the right arm now. Should be this one. Okay. 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 Looks like it's working, and then let's do the left arm. Okay, so this one should move now. Pushing. Oh, my button fell off again. Here, so I'll fix that. But it is working. So very good. All right, let me get this in here. Okay. So all of the motors are working. So that would be the next thing that we want to do, right? Is just make sure, check arms are working too. Okay. So if it's not working, you want to make sure, just double check your wiring in the back. Again, you can check out the previous video for that. All right. And if all the wiring is correct, maybe you want to make sure that this isn't tightened too tight. something that sometimes if your arms or head are on too tight, that can cause an issue, and then gears are maybe stuck a little bit. Maybe you need to give it a little boost, or kind of loosen these a little bit, or or wiggle it a little bit, might help it move. And then there's always a case, maybe it got damaged as you were doing that. So if that's kind of the worst case scenario, but if the motor won't move at all, you can always try to get a replacement motor. But most likely they are working. This is kind of like some things to check if they aren't working. All right, so number 2, we want to check the arms. Cool, so everything's good with mine. Now, what if I want to do this? All right, so you notice that when I first program it, it kind of jiggles a little bit. So what's happening is that when you first power it on and then you create these objects here, so you see how we've created these 3 servo motor objects. When you do this dot attach, okay, so we basically are saying head motor, attach it to nerve 9, right motor, attach it to 10, left to 11. It's gonna move a little bit, okay, and I believe it always goes to 90 degrees, but we'll see. So but what I like to do is under setup, let's go ahead and move everything to 90 degrees in the beginning. So I say head motor dot right 90, right motor dot right 90, and left motor dot right 90. Okay, and in robotics we call that a home position. It's like the starting position for everything. Okay, and so I'm gonna do that, and I'm gonna take away the else statement here. All right, I'll just take this away for now too. All right, so now I just should, everything once it starts up, it should move to 90. Let's see where all the arms and stuff end up. Okay, so this is the home position. So right now all my motors are at 90, but it's kind of looking weird, you know? Like it's not, the arms are at different places, the head's not looking forward. So after we've homed it, what I like to do is then move, because you can still move these, right? Let's move the arms down and head like that. So that looks like a good home position, starting position, right? And so now you know, and now that my robot's calibrated, I know that 90 is always going to be this position here. Cool. Now let's write a quick program to move both arms up. So when I press the button, I want both arms to go up. So right now it's at 90, like this. Or maybe, I'm just thinking about how it all works out. Maybe I'll do this. Maybe I'll do 90, the home position is like this. Like arms out. Okay? Because 90 should be halfway, right? And so so all the way up and all the way down, right? So all the way up should be like this, all the way down should be like this. So halfway should be like this. That's what I'm thinking. So maybe this is a better position for 90, for the arms are like straight out. The head being straight center as 90 makes sense, right? Because all the way to the side would be like 0, all the way to the other side would be like 180. So that to me makes sense. If I have 90 looking straight and 2 arms straight. Okay, cool. So now we let's just take some notes here. Calibrate our robot. So arm straight out, head looking forward. Okay, so now that we have that, let's try to make our robot raise this raise her right arm. Okay, right arm. So we're gonna say right arm dot right, and if I want it to go up, right now it's at 90. I'm thinking maybe it's 0. Let's see. Oh, it's not called right arm. It's called right motor, right? That's why I had the issue there. Okay. Right motor. Okay. So moved it all to 90, but it was already at 90, the motor, so that's why you didn't see anything move. And then now when I press the button, it should move the right arm to 90. Okay, so it went down. So it did the opposite of what I wanted. So right now 0 is down, so then what should it be? It should be the opposite of that, which is all the all the way to the other side, which is 180. Because that's the opposite side for a servo motor. It can only go 0 to 180, so cool. Okay, so back to 90, starting position. Cool. Let's press our button, and now it should move up, hopefully. Yeah, yes, raise your right hand, yes. Excellent. All right, now let's raise the left arm as well. So what I can do is in that same if clause, I can first move the right motor up, then I can also move the left motor up. Okay, and since this one, the right arm was 180 to move up, I'm thinking the left motor is also 180 to move up. Let's see what happens here. I may be wrong. I may be right. We'll see what happens. Okay, so we're back at 90. Press the button. Okay, what happened? This one went up, but this one went down. What's the deal? Well, the left arm and the right arm, they're actually opposites of each other. It's just the way that we mounted the motor. So actually, it's 0. I knew that already, but just want to see, this is the process, right? We just experiment to see how it works. So to move both motors up, it's like they're opposite. So let's change the left motor to 0, and hopefully it works out. Okay, we're back to 90. Let's press the button. Yes, and it both moved up. This got caught on my hand a little bit. That's why it didn't go up, but it did work, I promise. All right, so now it moves up. Cool. And let's say I want it to move up. Wait for 2 seconds. And then move down. So I would move the right motor back to 0 and the left motor back to 180. And then I also don't want to forget another delay to give it time to stay in this position. All right. So this code should be, if I press the button, it should both move up, wait for 2 seconds, both move down, wait for 2 seconds. Let's try it out. Oh, you know what? Let's go ahead and add this. Delay 1000. So you know how earlier when it moved up, it caught my hand here and then kind of got out of position. So I think let's do that so that when I press the button, I can have time to move my hand away before it tries to move its arms. Okay, let's do it. Okay. And press the button. Getting out of the way. Cool. Let's do it again. Looking good. Now, you'll see that they're moving, if you're watching the video, the arms are moving at the same time, but based on what we learned in the past, they're not moving exactly at the same time, right? If you look on line 72, the right motor moves first, and then right away the left motor moves. But the instructions or commands happen so fast that to us it looks like it's basically the same time. Okay, so very good. Now let's see if we can add the head in there. So when I press the button, I want to move both arms up and also move the head to one side. Let's say head motor dot right. I'm just gonna say I want to go this way. I'm just gonna say it's 0. I don't know if that's right. It might be 180. Not sure. And then when after my delay, let's move it back to 90 because I want it to be looking forward at the end. Okay, back to the home. Let me press the button, get out of the way. Let's see what the head does. Oh, okay, so it went the other way, so let's flip it. The head motor it went this way. I want it to go that way, so it should be opposite. Head motor should be 180 instead of 0. Okay, try again. Cool. Try again. Nice. Okay. So let's kind of add these in our challenges. All right. So move arms and head when you press the button. All right, and you can just follow what I've done here. Some good exercises. Now the last thing we're gonna do here is, remember these things? The functions here. Let's add those into our code so that we can also, you know, turn on lights and make sound. So we have on. So I'm gonna say, whenever I press the button, I'm gonna do the on stuff. Oh. And then whenever I don't press the button, do the off stuff. Cool. So without erasing my code or rewriting code, I can get the lights and the buzzer stuff to work along with my motors, which is the beauty of functions. All right, so let's upload this. I'll kind of turn it. It's on the back. Let's see. Okay, I want to press the button. There, it worked. So this time I'll show you the back of it. Press the button. There you go. So there's an example of how to get quickly. You got your tone, the buzzer, and all the motors working. Combine all the, or combine the lights, buzzer, and man motors using functions. Okay. All right, so there we go. That's what I'm going to show in this video. So we're just getting started with motors and kind of just combining, getting them to work individually with the button, and then also combining everything with the function. So I'll pause there. There's a lot more that we can do, but for now, have fun doing that. Of course, if you want to add some challenges, like if you wanted to have your arms go back and forth. So right now, when I press it, right, it just goes up and go down, right? But I guess I would add a challenge if you want, kind of an optional, is make your robot dance however you want, right? So maybe you want it to go, your arms to kind of, just kind of play it up. Maybe it goes like one up and one down, like that, right? And then it does a little head shake. So you can make your own little robot dance. You can also make, if you want your arms to go faster, like say if you want to go back and forth, like that really fast, what would you do? You would play with the delay here, right? Okay, so you could make up a little dance and that, of course, if you would like. So go ahead and have fun with that. If you have any questions, you can always reach out, and I'll see you in the next video.